I've been feeling these couple of days, I would say, and you know, I'm disappointed at myself, and sometimes I feel like I hate myself. I really hate myself for it because at the end, I lose myself again. I waste my time. I scroll back, and sometimes it's not really done voluntarily. I just rethink about all these painful memories about what happened in high school and everything. I know it's the best. I know some people should tell me to let go, but it's not easy because like I just remember, sometimes these memories resurface, and I'm like, what what can I do about that? Like my past already got destroyed. And I know maybe it sounds pathetic or whatever, but I just keep thinking about it, and I'm like, you know, what can I do? What can I possibly do? Like genuinely, I've been thinking like, what are the things I can do to change to stop this? Because every single time I improve myself, okay, then I suddenly remember all of these bad memories from my past, as if my mind telling me subconsciously, you haven't changed, you're still that same loser, you're still a failure, you're still gonna be treated badly. And like less than a month I'm gonna be entering like college. And in college I fear that the same things that happened to me in high school will repeat. Maybe less worse, maybe worse. I don't know, honestly. I just don't want it to be the same because, well, I've, I've been, I'm tired of being me, guys. Just tired. I've been tired of being myself. Like, how can I say this? Sometimes I just hate myself. Like, I hate being me, genuinely. It's hard to explain. It's like, I'm not satisfied with myself. I hate myself. I'm just not in the best condition. Like, no, I'm not talking about like living condition. I'm talking about like mental condition. I'm not. It's genuinely terrible. And if it wasn't for faith or anything, like I would have long ago started like um taking drugs, smoking, drinking. But since my faith doesn't allow it, it's the only reason I'm still sober. But I would say things have been bad. Things have been bad, and it's been that way since ever since my age became 16. Ever since I hit the number 16, things have been going downhill. Things have gone terrible. Terrible. Like really terrible. And even though I've been trying to change my situation a little, I could say that didn't work. Every single time, like if I don't need to tell you the entire lore, because in my channel I didn't even speak about it entirely. I could talk about everything. Okay, I could name every single thing that happened to me, but I'm not sure I want to say it on the live stream. So maybe post about it. Like create a post about it. Maybe talk about it on the Discord. But I I don't want to necessarily talk about it in here, because if I talk about everything, I might, start losing my mind for because listen, listen closely, okay? Imagine, imagine yourself, okay? Um, s- like imagine yourself. Let's say you are, let's say you came to a new country as an immigrant. You came to a new country. You are like about what 10 years old, and you are doing, you are like doing, your last, like the next year after you're like doing your last year of elementary school, and doing the last 2 years of elementary school, the new country that you went to, it genuinely became bad. Okay, like it became bad. People disrespect you. People ignore you. They don't take you seriously, or they just humiliate you for absolutely no reason. And that is something that happened to me for a while. But it's not only that. It's also the fact that it's like it's a fact that things haven't really properly changed, you know. Like things haven't properly changed. As I said, like imagine you go to a new country, okay? You go to the new country at 10 years old, and then the last 2 years of your elementary school go bad, okay? They're just terrible. Um, and then as soon as you enter middle school, you're 13 years old, you're trying to get adjusted, you get fucking destroyed. Like you get humiliated, you get sometimes attacked physically, people disrespect you, you're threatened in front of your own apartment. That's the things that happened to me when a few years ago, I would say. Um, a few years, but a few years later, it's still the same thing. You know, people still like um have this respect for you, never, you know, respecting you as a normal human being, talking about your back, um, seeing you as this loser, even though I didn't do anything wrong. Perhaps like I was being a jester or whatever. But yeah, that's one of the possibilities I would say. Because when you're a jester, people eventually, you know, they won't take you seriously, you know. Like if you're a jester, they won't take you seriously. You're just a stupid clown, and you're not worth respecting or worth to be listened, you know? Yeah, this is like why I'm disappointed in myself. Disappointed in myself because I always wanted to be better. I always wanted to change my life. I mean, when I hit when I became 15, I really wanted to change my situation. I could see that, you know, I was tired of being disrespected because for me it was normal before that I was disrespected, that I was seen as a loser. That was just me, you know. Others would never get disrespected like that, but that would happen to me. I would be seen as a tool. You know, people, you know, they would, you know, what's crazy? They would genuinely like use me for projects and then suddenly disrespect me or mock me, you know. For example, there would be these girls like laughing and whatever, and they would be like, hey, you gonna help us with the project or stuff? And I'm like, yeah, sure, because they were the only partners like left in class. And so I'm like, yeah, I'm stuck with them. These girls like aren't the brightest, and you know, it's one of the reasons why people don't work with them generally. Or you know, if they work with them, they're not very serious. You're just wasting their time. So these girls like see me as a last option, and they're like, "Hey, he seems pretty good, I guess, in the subject, so we can, you know, use him or whatever." And so when I started working on the project, you know, they would just, you know, fucking see me as this jester, you know, like as if I was their pet or whatever. It's one of the things that happen often when I was doing my projects. But I would say this is like when I was 15 years old. Even even before that, I was also seen as a jester, not gonna lie, seen as a clown, someone not worth talking to, not very respected, I would say. And you know, I've I came to I came to a conclusion that maybe the reason I'm disrespected is because I'm not respecting myself. Like, how can I be respected if I'm like, you know, not respecting myself, if I'm not valuing myself, you know? Like there's some people who genuinely don't deserve your attention, and I sometimes I try to get their attention, you know, because I guess I didn't have many friends, and so I tried to talk to them. They just sometimes they responded, but they just saw me as this clown begging for attention. So you know, I eventually became a jester, and then things have become much worse than they were supposed to be. But it's not the only thing. The what's worse is that like, you know, I later became addicted to social media, I would say, at 15 years old, I think. At 15 years old, I became addicted to social media. I started scrolling more, wasting my time. My grades became worse. My sleep became worse. I started having hair loss at quite a young age, I would say. Um, Not just that, like, you know, even my diet, I would neglect it. I would stop taking sports seriously. Everything just became hell because why? I like I didn't I didn't confront things directly. You know, I didn't confront things directly. I didn't confront these bullies. I didn't confront my problems. I just escaped my problems. You know, either by like going to my house, like launch this random game on my computer. Um, I would like play. for like 4 hours, maybe five, Resident Evil, that game, and just fucking fantasize, because at the end, I don't like my life that much. I always like look at, characters like Leon Kennedy or other characters, just I know it sounds ridiculous when you think about it, but I just didn't feel comfortable in my own skin, and I guess I just wanted, to be different. Like I would play these games and escape as these, amazing characters with exciting lives and having amazing, you know, having like just an amazing futures and stuff like that, like people with stories, stuff like that. This is like one of the reasons I played video games that much. It's because I would, play as a character, like a character who I escape through, a character who has a story, who has a lore, who has something exciting, who has, you know, yeah, who has some drama, who has some problems, but would overcome them with time through determination or through, cooperation, anything. And then, like, they would just have that happy ending, or, sometimes not, but they would just have that happy ending, like, of, having solved all their problems and just having to live normally their future, enjoying their life. That's the type of games I used to play. Now when it comes to Resident Evil, it's not exactly that. I mean, the main characters still face problems, but I don't know, they just always surpass their limits to fight these problems, and even if they are broken in a way, they still try to improve. They still try to build something normal, something genuine, something real. But I just kept escaping. Eventually it became worse because after that, like, I started, daydreaming, like, at night. At 1 a.m. uh, I would still, like, look at the ceiling and imagine my life differently. What if I did this? What if I did that? Trying to imagine an alternate timeline and wishing it would have happened, wishing I could go back, like, to being 13 and fix, the things I went through. But unfortunately, these years passed and I can't do anything about it. I generally can't go back. I generally can't change my past, and my past will stay with me forever. And that's like the dark realization I came with, because at the end, no matter how much I try to escape, I will never I will never ever forget my past. That's the thing. Never ever forget my past. I will never forget it. I'll never, I'll never it will never leave my DNA, It's still gonna be part of me. I will never forget it fully. It's impossible. It's just impossible. And in a way it makes sense because, after all these years they shaped who I am today. A fucking chud, a loser who is, you know, trying to improve little by little, but goes back to his previous habits of fantasizing, daydreaming, fucking oversleeping on the bed, trying to imagine a different future. But at the end, I'm almost 18 years old and I'm fucking pathetic, And if I keep going that way at 30 years old, 40, there will be nothing. I'll probably be living by myself alone in some cold apartment, and if I'm lucky enough to have one. But let's just say, let's say I managed to get a decent job, have my own apartment or whatever. I'd be probably in my own apartment, cold, and just with nobody around, and still fantasizing, still dreaming of a potential future. Probably, just looking at others building their lives while still I'm still, in my bedroom looking at the ceiling. But at the end, I I genuinely feel like there is no choice left, because there is only one way left. Either, like, I change myself fully. So I'm not talking about like changing myself through self-improvement or whatever. I'm talking about like a hard reset. Um I've been, I don't know if I can do it or whatever, honestly. I don't know. I don't know if it's risky. But here's the thing, okay. I'm thinking about doing a hard reset, some sort of, how can I say this? I've been like going on Reddit the last few months and found about like an experiment where, people I won't give the details because I don't want my video to get banned or removed or shadow banned, but I could say that it's an experiment where they erase like the person's memory, or they just make the person forget about who they were. It's like a reset process, like they use tools and stuff like that, and also some chemicals. Though the experiment failed. I mean, maybe if there was a way I could, just perhaps not just forget my past, but like, dissociate this regret and whatever this sadness from them, like almost detaching my emotions from them. If I could do that, it would be awesome. But I can't. I know I can because life doesn't work like that. But overall, I'm also, if I'm being honest, even religiously, I'm not that good. I would say, I'm sometimes I pray, sometimes I don't. Um, I just look at the ceiling, trying to imagine a different life. All of that humiliation, disrespect, and sometimes, physical assault I went through in high school, middle school, and elementary school. It just makes me, despise myself. Like I'm like, it just makes me hate myself even more. But it's not like I can do anything about it. I can't do anything about it. I can't change my past. But you know what I would have liked? I would have liked, my future years, maybe during my 20s, to be different. I would just, I would like to live like 5 to 10 years of success, okay? 10 years where I'm confident, 10 years where I'm, physically in shape, 10 years where I am, happy, maybe with, I don't know, with a successful relationship. I don't know, like finding someone who's interested in me, I guess, um, going with my full potential. I would love that, but at the end, I think there is no way that will happen if I stay in the current spot I am right now, and there is no way that will happen if I, stay myself. It's almost impossible because, there is like this quotation that says like, I don't remember it, but it says basically that if you repeat the same actions expecting a different outcome, then you're just then it's just insanity. It's just insanity. It's just crazy what you're doing. You've lost your sanity, thinking that things will become different. That is what happened, kind of, because I thought that, if I just tried harder, I barely changed anything about, like, my actions, and thought that, hey, just because I altered this small, insignificant detail, maybe I will quit being a loser, but no. I still go back to scrolling. I still go back to daydreaming. I still go back to, oversleeping on my bed, thinking about my past and all. And so I came, I'm just thinking, and I'm like, what would happen if I just decided today, like today, to take control, to take control of my life fully, to be a better person, and to not let my past control me or whatever. Because at the end, I'm gonna be 18 in 3 months, and if I'm going to be 18, I could, I don't know, I could at least try to make my 20s better. I know I can reach the high. I know I can reach. I know I can accomplish anything. I know that I can accomplish anything. I know that I'm capable of that. But you know, if you're being nerfed by your past or by your traumas, it's still hard to move forward. So I'm like, if I if I don't intervene right now, if I don't fucking change something, any detail, if I don't, like, just take an extreme step, an extreme change, nothing will happen. Nothing will happen. And I think it's not by, running 20 kilometers that it's going to be solved. It's not by doing a marathon or whatever. Change doesn't happen like that. Like, it doesn't come also with the realization. Like, it's not just a realization, because people realize that what they're doing is bad or that they're losing themselves, but they still continue. I think it's genuinely like trying to rebuild my life piece by piece and trying to imagine a better future. If I would imagine a better future, I would like to maybe 6 years, having, already having some success in my life. I don't know, just some success, maybe financially in other ways, but success financially, why not? I would like that. Have my own place to live in. Um, having uh having better opportunities, I guess. Having better physical shape. Just being a better person overall. Maybe future relationship. I don't know. We don't know how life is going to be, but yeah, I just don't want to be seen as this loser motherfucker who, is just a fucking jester who's like a fucking loser. Just imagine like going to class with the feeling of being observed all the time, and sometimes when you do something, when you say something, it kind of feels stupid or like very very almost idiotic, like stuff like that. And so I'm like, what can I do to change it? Like at the end, if I keep scrolling, if I keep watching, videos, and if I keep like, just draw like drowning myself with dopamine, I know that I will never be able to reach my fullest potential. I will never be able to become the man I dream of. And I know that nobody will choose me. Nobody's going to save me. Nobody will choose me. Because for real, nobody will choose you. Okay. Like if you're struggling, if you have problems, nobody's going to save you. Nobody is coming to choose you. Okay. It's not like this. We're not like in a fucking romance anime, or in this fiction movies where the character gets reborn or gets isekai'd, I don't know, with a better life and suddenly better genetics and better everything. This can't happen. Okay. This genuinely can't happen, and it's impossible. Okay, it's impossible. Like even if you pray day and night, it will never happen. And so at the end, I'm like, instead of trying to run away and like live in a fantasy, I could confront the life as it is, hard, harsh, however it is, and just confront it and try to make reality, to make my dreams a reality I would live in every day. I would, if I close my eyes for a while and try to imagine a future, I would like to wake up in my own apartment, my own place, uh maybe like having having my own kitchen, my own place. I don't know, something like that. Like if I imagine it more clearly, I wake up in my own apartment, um, opening the window, looking at the sky, with the sun touching my face, stuff like that. Then I would like, to see, maybe like my wife next to me, not too far, my computer in my bedroom or in our bedroom. I don't know. I don't know how it would be. Going to the living room, having having like a comfortable couch, like stuff like that, that I would sit on, watching TV casually. Then, maybe go to the gym right away, work out, do some pull ups, lift some, you know, lift some hard stuff. Then I would go back in front of my computer or something, work on my projects. Maybe, I don't know, let's say I organize a secret trip with my family. I don't know. Okay, I don't know how. I don't know if I'm gonna be, living in my apartment alone or with a partner, but nonetheless, like, if I had a partner, whatever, like, would say, hey, wanna go next week to this country or whatever, wanna go travel to this country, you know, without having to worry about money or, like, about my, about my financial situation, not having to worry about like, preparation, just, saying, hey, wanna go next week traveling, wanna go, in Spain, wanna go in Italy, stuff like that. That's the type of life I want. Like, like that's the type of life I want. I want a life where I can um I can provide fully. Okay, I can provide fully. Nobody, like my wife, doesn't have to work. That's the type of life I want. I mean, she can work. She can open a few businesses, try a few projects. I don't mind, but I just don't want her to struggle and live a stressful life. I don't want that. I would rather carry by myself everything. I would like, to travel with her, explore things, go to different countries. And I don't know if in the future I ever get to have kids or whatever. Like, I'm trying to imagine like a future where, I I'm just peaceful, bro. I'm just peaceful. Like, having our own house, like a, a like not a huge house, but a big enough house, I would say, a big like two floors, one that is where our bedroom is on top, and under that, like, the living room with a couch, TV, a pool, I guess. Being able to travel whenever I want, being able to spend money without having to worry about my financial situation, being able to invest, being able to be close religiously, like once in a like go to Umrah every single year, donate money to people, like being generous, helping people, stuff like that. Um, making just making the world better. Well, make like just make my family secure, like living the best life ever. That's the type of future I want. But all of that will come with a price. I just can't stay the same, stay in my comfort zone and expect this to happen. I'll have to do things I would never do before. I'll have to do things I would have never dared to do, even go against the expectations that society has for me. Like I might need to drop out. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I might need to drop out from university. Sure, like I'm gonna do these 3 years of college because I need them, but after that, I'm not very sure if I want to do university, and I'm not really sure I want to do university. Honestly, if I could just live live like my prime while being young, not at 30, not at 40 years old. I don't wanna live like my life as a 30 to 40-year old. Like, how can I say this? I wanna live my life in my youth. Like I wanna enjoy things in my youth. I don't wanna struggle. Okay, I wanna live my life as um as someone who, like, I imagine that future, like I would like to, in my 20s, early 20s, something like that, to not go to university, being already married, having a house, a car, nothing fancy. I don't want a luxury, everything in luxury. I just want comfort, like being able to work at my own rhythm, no one to force me to go to respect the schedule or whatever, no one telling me, hey, you have to wake up at this hour. No, I want to have such you know a comfortable life that I can work from my home, deliver my projects, try new businesses, stuff like that, work on my keep programming, maybe, like, because programming, I still like it, things like that. That's the future I want. That's the type of future I desire, stuff like that. I never wanted, I don't want to stay the same loser. I want to live my best life. I want to enjoy my youth. uh I want to travel. I want to do stuff. I want to you know enjoy life, no drama. I probably wouldn't even, like, tell my, apart from my parents, I wouldn't even tell my other relatives, like, about it. I wouldn't tell my relatives, hey, I have this or I have that, not to give myself evil eye, or just unwanted attention. I would just have a quiet, peaceful life with my wife, a few, maybe one, two kids max, and just enjoy, like, enjoy life. Not not going through this endless depression and pain I'm going through right now. I know, like, you might say, hey, you're still young, or you're dreaming too much, but that's the type of future I want. Having a house, a wife, being able to travel, choose choose how I spend my time, spend more time with my kids, not sending them, maybe not even sending them 8 hours for school. Like, I don't know. Like, I would like my kids, I wouldn't maybe I would like them to be homeschooled. Like, I would, like, hire a tutor or something, a teacher, homeschool them, teach them about, different subjects, stuff like that, like being educated, but without depending of the school system. Because honestly, I wouldn't want them to go through the same things as me, because some people don't get bullied, some people get bullied, but at the end of the day, many people in high school, elementary school, middle school experience severe forms of bullying, psychological, physical, or in, like, other forms, social isolation. And I wouldn't want them to live that life. I would, would still let them socialize. I would still let them meet people from their age, maybe put them in, like, activities, sport activities, like, other forms of activities, artistic activities. um Maybe even, like, in summer camps. Sure, I will do that, but I wouldn't want them to go through the same suffering you go through in the current school system, because the current school system right now is just there are genuinely some good teachers. Okay, I've had good teachers. I would say there are good teachers. There are some good people for sure, but until things really change and become safe, that becomes a safe environment for my kids, or for my future family. I don't know honestly, but yeah, if my future kids like will have to get educated, I will not want them to go to school, because it's not safe. It's really not safe. Like, after the things I went through, I can't imagine, like, I don't know if they're going through the same. Probably not. Maybe a few of them, like one of my kids experienced that, but I just wouldn't like them to experience all this pressure, comparison, and pain. Like, maybe like just I would probably like homeschool them, like till at least they're like 14 years old, and then maybe if they want to, I could send them to high school, to send them to high school and stuff like that. They will probably have to get used to the rhythm and stuff, but if that's their life at the end. But when they're young, I'm not gonna send them to a place like that where their childhood is going to be shaped by trauma, comparison, fucking, conflicts and hate. Just useless problems that I wouldn't want on them. I would like them to go in high school confident, not being destroyed like in their confidence. Like, I would want them to live like a good life, a comfortable life. Like my wife, I wouldn't want her to cook all the time, to do the cleaning all the time. I would like her, just spending time, like, like spending her my money on her, buying accessories, buying new clothes, spend time shopping, I guess, traveling, um, trying new restaurants. Like, I would like her to live the best life ever. Um, you know, but I know that life can't be perfect, that there might be ups and downs, that, I might become more financially less stable, other problems could come, but at the end, it's life. You can't expect a perfect life. But I would just, would like to enjoy at least 10 years. Like, it's not that much. 10 years. 10 years of, a good life, a good quality of life. I'm not saying after that has to be terrible. Just 10 years of a peak, prime life. And then, if my kids like want to, like, after that, after the years pass, like, if they want to build their own future, if they want to become doctors, if they want to do this and that, they're free. But I just want to live the rest of my life with no more pain anymore. Or, I know pain is, you can't avoid it. You always have to fight painful situations, but I would just like, to live a life according to my principles, a life that is safe, a life that is, that doesn't involve, me being suffering alone in an apartment with substances or something like that. That's the type of future I don't want, and I really wouldn't like it for anyone. So yeah, I just want my life to be different, and like, if I don't work right now, if I don't suffer right now, I will suffer for the rest of my 20s. I've got myself about max 3 years. I'm gonna be 18, 19, then 20 years old, and during these 3 years, either I build my future and make myself, financially free and, responsible, or I just stay the same loser and end up in my 30s, still alone, still a loser, still in my, maybe with my apartment, but just a loser, I guess. But yeah, to conclude this video, I don't want to waste too much time talking. I've told everything that I felt, I didn't give details. I didn't tell everything about my past because I don't want to, honestly. Don't want to remember every single painful memory. But I would say that, yeah, I will I will work towards a future, and no matter the sacrifices, I'm going to do them because I don't like my life right now.